In the vibrant streets of Kaduna State, Nigeria, Ibrahim was known as a hardworking trader. His shop, tucked between others in the central market, was modest but steady. Ibrahim had dreams larger than the narrow aisles of the market. He wanted wealth, not just enough to feed his family but riches that would grant him influence and respect. For years, Ibrahim watched others rise to prominence, their luxurious cars and sprawling mansions a stark contrast to his humble existence. The pressure grew, especially from his peers, who often mocked his lack of ambition. "If only you had the guts to take risks, Ibrahim," one friend teased, "you'd be a big man by now." Ibrahim's wife, Amina, was a patient and kind woman. She loved him deeply and often reminded him that contentment was the key to happiness. But Ibrahim's longing for riches clouded his judgment. The couple had been married for 5 years, yet their union was without children. In their community, this was a heavy burden, and whispers of Amina's supposed barrenness began to spread. One evening, after a particularly slow day at the market, Ibrahim met a mysterious man named Malam Musa. Draped in flowing robes, Musa exuded an air of mystique. He claimed to be a spiritual guide who could unlock fortunes for those willing to pay the price. "Ibrahim," Musa said, his voice low and hypnotic, "I see the hunger in your eyes. You desire wealth beyond measure. I can give you what you want, but it comes at a cost." Intrigued, Ibrahim listened as Musa outlined a ritual that required him to sacrifice something precious. "You must give up your manhood," Musa explained. "In return, you will have all the riches you desire." The thought horrified Ibrahim, yet the lure of wealth was irresistible. Musa warned him to think carefully. "Once the ritual is complete, there is no going back," he said. For days, Ibrahim wrestled with the decision. Amina noticed his unease and tried to comfort him, but he kept his torment to himself. He spent sleepless nights pacing their small home, his mind torn between his ambition and the enormity of the sacrifice. Late one night, as Amina slept, Ibrahim sat in the darkness of their living room, replaying Musa's words. The idea of riches called to him like a siren song, promising an escape from his struggles and a life of luxury. "What is my manhood compared to the wealth that could change my life?" he muttered to himself, trying to justify the unthinkable. The following day, Ibrahim made his decision. With trembling hands and a heart heavy with doubt, he sought out Musa. The mysterious man greeted him with a knowing smile, as though he had expected Ibrahim all along. "You have decided?" Musa asked, his voice calm and commanding. "Yes," Ibrahim replied, though his voice wavered. "I will do it." That night, under the light of a full moon, Musa led Ibrahim to a secluded forest outside the city. The air was thick with the sound of chirping crickets and the rustling of leaves, adding an eerie quality to the ritual. Musa instructed Ibrahim to sit in a circle drawn with white chalk, surrounded by strange symbols and burning candles. "You must give yourself fully to this," Musa said as he began chanting in a language Ibrahim didn't understand. The chants grew louder, the flames of the candles flickering wildly as the air seemed to thrum with unseen energy. Musa handed Ibrahim a small, ornate knife and instructed him to make the offering himself. Ibrahim hesitated, his hands shaking as he held the blade. "Do not falter," Musa urged. "The sacrifice must be made willingly, or the ritual will fail." With tears streaming down his face, Ibrahim whispered a prayer for forgiveness and did as he was told. The pain was excruciating, searing through his body like fire. He collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath, as Musa continued chanting. When the ritual ended, Ibrahim lay on the forest floor, weak and trembling, his body drenched in sweat. Musa handed him a pouch filled with gold coins. "Your wealth begins here," he said. "But remember, the path you have chosen is irreversible. You must carry the weight of your decision for the rest of your life." Ibrahim staggered home, clutching the pouch. The physical pain was immense, but the emotional toll was even greater. As he entered his house, he saw Amina asleep, her face serene and untroubled. Guilt gnawed at him, but he pushed it aside, focusing instead on the golden future that awaited him. He told himself it was all worth it, but deep down, a seed of doubt had already taken root. True to Musa's word, Ibrahim's fortunes changed overnight. His business flourished, and he acquired properties, cars, and influence. However, he kept the source of his wealth a secret, even from Amina. Amina, meanwhile, bore the brunt of society's judgment. With no children to show for their marriage, the whispers grew louder. Relatives and neighbors accused her of being the reason for their childlessness. Ibrahim, consumed by his newfound status, offered little support. "Why won't you give your husband a child?" one relative sneered at Amina during a family gathering. Humiliated, Amina wept in silence, unaware of the true reason behind their predicament. As years passed, the cracks in Ibrahim's life began to show. Despite his wealth, he felt a growing emptiness. The joy he had hoped to find in riches eluded him. His relationship with Amina grew strained as she withdrew into herself, hurt by his indifference and the community's scorn. One fateful evening, Amina stumbled upon Ibrahim's journal while cleaning their bedroom. In it, he had documented his pact with Musa and the sacrifice he had made. Shocked and heartbroken, Amina confronted him. "You've taken away our chance to build a family," she cried. "You let me endure shame and blame while you chased after wealth." Ibrahim's guilt consumed him, but he had no words to offer in his defense. Amina packed her belongings and left, unable to stay with a man who had betrayed her trust so deeply. Alone and tormented, Ibrahim's wealth began to feel like a curse. He sought out Musa, desperate to reverse the ritual. "I give back everything," he pleaded. "Just restore what I've lost." But Musa shook his head. "The covenant cannot be undone, Ibrahim. You made your choice." Haunted by his decision, Ibrahim withdrew from society. His once thriving business crumbled as he neglected it, and his wealth slowly dissipated. Amina, now living with her family, rebuilt her life and found peace away from Ibrahim's shadow. Some years later, Ibrahim sat alone in the same market where his journey had begun. The man who once dreamed of riches now lived in obscurity, reflecting on the choices that had led to his downfall. He realized too late that true wealth lay not in material possessions but in love, trust, and contentment. Ibrahim's story became a cautionary tale in Kaduna, a reminder that some sacrifices are too great, and the price of greed can be far higher than imagined. Moral lessons: true wealth is found in love, family, and contentment, not in material possessions. In addition, greed often leads to irreversible decisions with devastating consequences. Finally, be careful of sacrificing what truly matters for temporary gains. The end.